Is intuitive eating making you fat? Yes. So let's talk about what it is, why it's not working, and at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you action steps of how you can do intuitive eating more intelligently and also run you through exactly what I do. So first, let's start off, define intuitive. So what intuitive means is it's based on what one feels to be true without conscious reasoning. It is autopilot. So if we're eating on autopilot, majority of people in America, we're not tracking our food, and I would say this probably over 95% of people. And so how is that playing out overall with all majority of us being intuitive eaters? Oh, not very well. So we got to do things a little bit different. So we see that America is probably over 40% obese as of right now, and it's not necessarily, if you're in this position from intuitive eating, it's not necessarily your fault. The environment right now, the food environment that we have, is just very challenging to win the game on autopilot. We have to make these conscious decisions just because there's so much yummy, delicious, quick, accessible foods at fast food places, already pre-prepared stuff, just stuff that's super hyper delicious. And that is how big companies are incentivized to do, just to make more sales. So with that being said, why would you take 30 minutes to cook chicken breast and vegetables and sit down with a home-cooked meal? It's just a hard sell right now because of the environment. But intuitive eating overall, it's kind of like trying to win a basketball. If you're going with the intuitive eating, it's like trying to win a basketball game without looking at the scoreboard. You don't have any feedback of like, am I winning? How's my strategy doing? Where am I actually going? Because typically you're just going in blind. Or you can think of intuitive eating as like you're in a store, you're doing some shopping, but you're not looking at the price tag. And we know for our finances, that could be pretty tough. You're shopping for a t-shirt and you didn't even realize you're buying Gucci t-shirts because it all kind of looks the same. So your finances are affected. You're in a kind of a rough spot because again, it's kind of unconscious. The big thing that intuitive eating lacks is accountability. So there's no form of it. It's just technically eating what I want, eating what I feel like, and that can mean whatever. I feel like eating cake right now. So if I didn't have a structure, or I didn't have, some kind of thing battling my feelings and wants, then, it probably wouldn't be the best outcomes for my body composition and my health. So if you wanted to improve your finances, like finance, body, if you want to improve your finances, you wouldn't avoid looking at your expenses. You probably would also look at the scoreboard consistently, which would be your bank account in that situation. You wouldn't just go by feel, spend by feel, because that doesn't typically end well. And then also, social media is a big play into why this is difficult, just on average for a general population in America. It's kind of like wealth. You see on social media, oh, these fit people just intuitively eat. They make these beautiful meals that probably took 60 minutes to put together because they're really pretty. I just put lean meats on 647 bread. I'm very simple. But that being said, just looking at social media right now, a lot of people, they're posting their meals. They say, I intuitively eat. And you're like, oh, they are fit because they intuitively eat. I should intuitively eat. Although you've been eating by feel and you may not be in the best position, and it's not that intuitive eating is the solution. It's kind of like saying, I'm going to start flying private and I'm going to become a billionaire. No, you become the billionaire first, then it makes sense to start flying private. So that kind of puts the cart before the horse a little bit. So that's why it's very important to remember the fit person probably got fit from some form of structured calorie balance or some kind of structured eating. They got lean, got fit, they built those habits, they built their systems, and then they settled into intelligent eating. Not intuitive, intelligent, because they have experience. And the big fundamental problem I feel with intuitive eating is it falls into something a lot of overarching principles fall into. It's rationalizing easy and labeling it productive. That's a writer downer. Rationalizing easy and labeling it productive. Because if we are eating XYZ, and we're not in a good position fitness-wise, then we see a fitfluencer saying like, oh, I intuitively eat. And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna start intuitive eating. And you're just eating the same thing. The outcome doesn't change because the inputs do not change. So moving in, how do we do intelligent eating? I think that intuitive eating should start becoming intelligent eating. So I'm gonna walk you through exactly how you're gonna get to intelligent eating as your outcome, be in a better health spot. So Carl Jung, quote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So how do we take this? We want to make the unconscious conscious by tracking your food. Start seeing how many calories you're actually eating. See how many calories are in that peanut butter. Weigh out the portion too and find out that you're having 3 servings of peanut butter when you thought it was 1 serving of peanut butter. And then what you're going to want to do, track your weight on a daily basis, see how that's moving, see how many calories you're consuming, see how much protein you're having, and you're just going to get a reality check, which is good. A reality check shows you where the opportunity is. It's feedback to get better. And then what you're going to want to do, use this information, track your food, and then you're going to want to get into a calorie deficit if necessary and get to a healthy body composition. What this journey is going to teach you or force you to learn is you're going to learn portion sizes. You're going to learn how much you're eating. You're going to learn your arena in this game of thermodynamics. What do I mean by that? Is we're playing the game of thermodynamics when it comes to fat loss. But the amount of calories that I have to consume is different. I have a different arena to play the game of thermodynamics, kind of like a football field. The grass is cut a little bit differently. If it's Boise State, it's bluegrass. The bleachers look a little bit different in every arena. However, we're playing the same game of football. We're playing the same game of thermodynamics. So you're gonna have to find those things for you. Yes, you can type into a BMR calculator and that'll give you a good ballpark. But again, that is just an average. There's so much deviation that you're gonna need to figure out your own arena. So you gotta get in the game. You're not gonna get a perfect plan before you get in the game, so get in the game. Get in the game, fail, and then you're just gonna get better. But also, you're gonna learn what's necessary for you by tracking your food and making these changes, getting in the game. And then you're gonna develop a system for how to sustain your calories, your protein, etc. And then you can start moving into intuitive eating. You can probably, once you get to that healthy body composition, you have your systems, you have that experience, you've tracked, you understand what food is and looks like and the calorie density, then you're gonna be able to stop tracking, but keep some high satiety habits. You probably are gonna find how many meals were useful for you. Okay, yeah. I had 3 to 4 major meals, and that's where I felt pretty good with my distribution of calories. So maybe Betty, 1,500 calories a day maintenance, she's like, okay, I feel really good with 4 meals that are between about 400 calories, just under that. And that's where Betty feels really good. You're still gonna want that high satiety eating that you probably learned from that fat loss phase where you're tracking. So you're gonna want protein maybe at every meal. You're gonna want 4 servings of fruits and vegetables, probably on a daily basis. They're high satiety per calorie. 15 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories. And then you're gonna find that structure of meal number. So you're gonna be forced to learn these things. And so how do I use this in intelligent eating after 15 years of doing this stuff and after coaching 1,200 plus people? What works for me, I haven't tracked the last 10 days or so. And before that, I've had 2,000 or 3,000 day streaks of tracking. So what I settle into now is I know my protein target, 250 grams of protein. I weigh a little bit over, 220, so a little bit over 1 gram per pound. And I know that I'm gonna just divide that by 5 and spread it into 5 meals or so. And I typically will have a meal every 3 to 5 hours. When I'm dieting, I like to run the 3-hour rule. I try not to have 2 meals within 3 hours, just because I know I'm gonna spend all my calories sooner if I'm eating every hour and a half. So that's another thing, intuitive eating, intelligent, I made myself a rule. So shoot for 250 grams of protein. So I divide that into 5 by 50 grams of protein meals, spreading that out throughout the day. So I pretty much have 500 calorie meals, 3 to 4 of those. And that's gonna put me to, let's say I have 4 500 calorie meals. I eat at 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., and then let's say 1 p.m. Then I'm at 2,000 calories. So if I'm targeting 3,200 calories, I got 1,200 left for dinner and or a snack with my wife, my family. And so this for me is fine for a lean bulk or maintenance. I can intelligently eat, not track and have to be super mega diligent, but I'm not just oh, I don't know how many calories I'm eating. I have a structure where I'm okay, these are all about 500 calorie meals. I'm intelligently thinking how many calories are in each meal, and I'm doing that, and then I know kind of my ballpark. This is great for lean bulk or maintenance where you have a little bit more flexibility, but when the time comes for me to do a contest prep or I want a fat loss phase, I am gonna dial in. I'm going to track, weigh out every portion even more diligently and really make the most so I can get that, because I gotta fight the intuitive nature. I gotta force some discomfort to get that result. So that is what intelligent eating looks like for me. A reminder, no one's intuitively eating and dropping 50 pounds. There's discomfort necessary, which is not something we feel like putting ourselves into. So with that being said, I hope this is helpful, having my system as well as, a structure for figuring out what intelligent eating looks like for you. And if you're a career-driven professional that wants to lose 20 pounds in the next 16 weeks and you want help with implementing a system like this and setting yourself up for long-term intelligent eating, hit the link in my bio, see if my online coaching program, the Healthy Flex Prescription, is the right fit for you for doing this in an efficient way. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys next time. Keep it flexible. Bye.